Hey, good morning. What's poppin'? It's your boy Jay the Comedian. How y'all doing today? Are y'all feeling good? I'm feeling real good today. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about, are you a better person after you leave the Jehovah Witness organization or while you're in the organization still? Like, which one were you your best self, you know? Now, most people will say, especially all my XJW brethren, would say, of course, when you leave, you're a better person, you know? And my response to that is, it depends. Because if you leave the organization, but you're still mentally a part of that organization, I think that's when you're your worst person. That's the moment when you're the worst human being you could possibly be. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're physically out, but mentally in, when you're poor me, you know what I'm saying? That means that you still think like a Jehovah Witness, but you don't have those regulations to keep that craziness in, you know? Like, let's admit it. You're pretty crazy if you're a Jehovah Witness. But you have the rules and guidelines to kind of keep that craziness in a confined space, you know? But when you're me, physically out, mentally in, that means that you don't have those restraints and you're just out here. And let me see, this is my point right here. When I was a Jehovah Witness, right, I was going to the meetings, but there was a certain time where I stopped going to meetings for a little while. And while I wasn't going to meetings, I was still thinking like a Jehovah Witness. I just gave up on life though, you know? I said, what am I doing, you know? I'm gonna get destroyed in the Great Tribulation anyway. I'm not gonna make it to the new system anyway. I might as well go out here, bang chicks, get drunk, smoke, you know what I'm saying? Like, do all this stuff that is really not beneficial to me and could definitely lead down the path to some horrible stuff. But I felt like, well, what do I got to lose? I'm dying anyway. What do I got to lose? And people with that mind state are the worst human beings you could ever run into. These are the human beings that will try to rob you. You have no idea how many Jehovah Witnesses are in jail right now or are really suffering some really, really hardships because, like I say, you're guided and manipulated to believe that if you leave this organization, you're going to do horribly. And that's what they root for. You know, they want you to do bad once you leave so you can get that feeling of, the organization is what was keeping me on my toes and keeping me a good person. It wasn't me myself, it was the organization, you know? And that's the thing, that's just simply not true. It's something that was sold to you that you bought and that you believe is true. And it's absolutely not true. Another thing that a lot of people don't know is this. Now, I know people personally who weren't born into the organization and who really led like some funny lives while they were like living. Of course, you ain't living while you're dead, right? But they were living a sort of life where it wasn't good. They made a lot of bad decisions when they're young. And they came to the organization, and thanks to all the rules and regulations, they were brought into a new life, you know, like they stopped doing all this bad stuff they were doing and they became good people, according to them. But I would like to push back on that a little bit, because the thing is when you're young, you're more susceptible to make bad decisions. Everybody knows that. I wouldn't trust a 4-year-old to make a good decision at all. You know what I'm saying? And a teenager, I would trust them even less. Because it's around that age where you start feeling yourself and smelling yourself and you're like, you know what? Let me take some more chances and risks because I feel invincible. That's a teenager for you. Now, to just kind of show you what I'm talking about, let's say a guy decides to go steal something from a store, right? And while in the process of stealing it, the manager sees him and he tries to run out, and on the way out, he knocks the old lady down. She breaks her hip, right? The kid gets arrested, of course, and he goes to jail for a decent amount of time. And now that's on his record. Now that he's done that, now he got that on his record, it's going to be a little bit harder to get a job. Once they see that somebody's an ex-con or something like that, it's going to be hard for you to get a job now. But you're still going to need money, and you're going to need to provide for yourself and your family. So you take up selling drugs or something like that, you know? So now you're out there and you're doing that. And of course, that could lead to not only you becoming a drug addict, but also possibly you going back to jail. You know what I mean? So that shows you how a bad decision could snowball into other decisions. And the Jehovah Witness will harp on that. They hop right on that. Oh man, look how bad you're doing. If you come over here, we'll get you cleaned up. You won't be doing none of that stuff. And then you go to the organization, and I will give them credit. They have so many strong rules and regulations that it can lead to a jolt in somebody's life. But let me explain why that jolt happens. Because whenever you invest yourself into a religion, you're no longer putting the onus on yourself, and you're putting it on an entity that you're being told is this clean, perfect, pure entity. And you need to impress that entity. Now, if you're mentally just saying this is yourself, you don't need to impress yourself. Why would you do better? You haven't done better for yourself all this time. But the idea of an entity being inside of you or rooting for you or trying to clean you up is usually enough for people to convince themselves that they need to clean up. And they will. They'll stop doing what they were doing. They'll find other means and ways. And like I say, the Jehovah Witnesses, they got a really good network of people. You can get a job there. Of course, with a couple rules. As long as you don't get this fellowship, you can keep the job, you know. Couple conditions, not too many, but I mean, no, it is too many, but you get what I'm saying. A person could get to a point to where it seems like God has fixed their life. But really, what they did was lock in on themselves and push themselves past a point where they originally didn't know they could push. But that happens regardless of you getting with a new God or whatever. If anybody really pushes the limits of their capabilities, you could find yourself going past a point where you didn't think you could go past. That can happen to anybody. It does happen. So whenever people are in a religion and they like, oh, I couldn't have done this without a religion, that kind of takes away from what you were able to do as a person. And the Jehovah Witnesses are really, really, really good at using people like that, you know? Getting people at their weakest moment and trying to build them up. And then it's really hard to leave the organization then, because now you have the added fear of, if I leave this organization that helped me get to where I'm at right now, I'm just going to go back to where I was at. When that is not true. Actually, when you leave this organization, when you leave the Jehovah Witness organization, you stop rooting for 8 billion people to die. That in itself is a good thing. You become more understanding of people that are homosexual. You understand and you see where they come from. You can see how somebody could become that way. You know what I mean? Like, if you need me to explain that to you, I will. Let me know in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to explain it to you. You know what? I got enough time. I'll give you a quick little synopsis of why homosexuality is perfectly fine and normal. Just ask you a couple questions. First off, are there people who are sexually turned on by feet? If the answer is yes, then you also know that there's people who are turned on by musty, hairy women that are turned on by musty, hairy men. Now, the reason is that you're born liking what you like. It may be weird, it may not be the norm, but you're born liking what you like. There's variations of everything. You know what I mean? People are tall, fat, short, tall. I mean, I said tall twice. But it's different people. Like, there's not one set of people with one set of emotions and one set of anything. So there are people who are different and who like what they like and who don't like certain things. You know what I mean? Stuff that a lot of other people. I met a person that didn't like vanilla ice cream the other day. I almost slapped them in their face, but I say, hold on, that'd be vanilla phobic. I can't be like that, you know? But the bigger point is, since you're not in the position to feel what another person feels, you cannot say whether or not their feelings are right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? I've never liked feet, but I can't go to somebody and be like, you can't like feet. You're an abomination for liking feet, you know? Can't do that. Because I'm outside of myself. Like, I can't go to a woman and say, you shouldn't have a period. What's wrong with you? A period is wrong. And men used to do this to women. Men used to do this to women. They used to say women are unclean for having a period and that they were disgusting and not to be touched and all this stuff because they've never had one themselves. So they can't speak from the point of somebody who has one. And that's what homosexuality is to me. I've never been gay. So I can't tell somebody who is gay that they've chosen that life, or they wasn't born that way, or it's not natural. No, they're born liking what they like. That's how it works. People are born liking whatever they like, even if it's weird and you don't understand it and you don't get it. It's supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to get it. You've never been that way. How could you understand? How could you get it? And since you don't understand, since you can't get it, then a lot of people, instead of trying to get it, they'll just say it's wrong. And they'll just be like, okay, yeah. Then especially the people who wrote the Bible. The same people who wrote the Bible say that, women shouldn't be touched during their time of the month and they're unclean and all of, that's the same people who wrote the Bible. Okay, let's get that clear first, okay? So the people who wrote the Bible weren't the best, most loving and understanding people from a male's point of view. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, just that's my quick synopsis of why it's perfectly normal and natural for people to be gay. It's just normal and natural. There's no getting around that. Now, back to whether or not you're a good person after you leave the organization. Once you leave the organization, once you're done and you're out of the organization, you start to take people seriously. And not just the people that's inside the organization. Everybody. You can now see the problem with all of mankind. And you don't want to just help the people that's in the organization. You want to help everybody. What does it look like to help only a few million people when there are 8 billion people in the world? You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense to you? The rule in life in general has always been you help, you may sacrifice the minority to help the majority. You know what I'm saying? That's always been the rule, because the numbers is important. The vast number is always going to be more than the small number, At least it should be that way. I know sometimes, you can make a joke, everybody laugh, but that one person who doesn't find it funny wants to get up and make a big fuss. That's kind of how it is now with certain things, but that's not right. That's not okay. You know what I'm saying? The idea and opinion of the majority should definitely take precedence over the minority. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I be thinking crazy stuff sometimes. But anyway, biggest point is, once you leave the organization and you're out mentally and physically, then at that point, you can grow. You can really see how to be a good person, Your interests aren't just locked into the Jehovah's Witness organization. It's for everybody. Everybody gets to enjoy you as a person, and you get to enjoy everybody else. And that's the way you get to true happiness, and that's the way life was meant to be lived. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the video a little bit long. But I hope y'all having a great day. So far, my day's been pretty good. And yeah, man, any questions, just let me know in the comments. Let me know. Am I right or am I wrong about my thoughts on homosexuality? You know what I mean? Let me know, because I'm very curious about that. I hope y'all having a great day. I am. Enjoy the rest of it. Holla at your guala. Deuces.